Today I have the honor and the pleasure to preach the last sermon, the last Sunday sermon of 2025. My message today is about timing. It's about seasons. And my sermon title is There is a Time for Everything. There is a time for everything. When my husband married me back in 2010, he promised me the world. Yes, he promised to give me the world. And he started by giving me that world by renting for me a two-roomed house. Yes, a two-roomed house in Bukoto. That is a little slice of the world that he started by giving me. And I was willing to make the sacrifice. You know, it's two-roomed, but the location, You people know Bukoto, It is posh. Very, very nice. I would go home and you don't feel like, I have arrived. I grew up in a home where we went to a pit latrine. And, in this house, you would go to the bathroom and, you understand, do that thing. You would do that thing in the house and flush it there. Only Africans who've grown up from humble circumstances can understand. So I was content. But fast forward about 6 months later, my husband, who had promised me the world, announced to me that we would be shifting to Mukono. Now, Mukono is a story for another day. Yes? If you want to hear the story, take me out for coffee. I will tell you the troubles and wars that were fought in Mukono. Mukono, one of the I should tell you, was that the toilet was not inside. I went back to where I came from. But all this time, he's giving me the what? The world. Fast forward 14 years later. 14 years later, when we were celebrating 15 years in marriage, my husband took me on a 9-day vacation where he spared no expense. And I remember his anthem on that vacation was, "Get whatever you want." The motto was, "Get whatever you want." Everywhere we went, I would ask for something. It's like, get it. Get whatever you want. Babe, get whatever you want. You people, I plaited hair in a foreign country. Because, they cannot give you a blank check and you don't put many zeros there. So I put many, many zeros. I kept withdrawing from that motto for as long as I could. So I am sitting in a foreign country. And I am sitting in an air-conditioned salon. And there are like 5 ladies plaiting my hair. I plaited hair that was almost up to the bum. And I was thinking to myself, my God, this is a far cry from Mukono. The girl that went to Mukono and the girl that was now on the 9-day vacation were 2 different girls. But in my almost 40 years of being alive, I have learned that life happens in seasons. There was a season for Mukono, and then there was a season for the 9-day vacation. Those 2 seasons happened to the same person. And this to you as a believer should either come as a caution if you are on a mountain top. Yes? It should come as a caution to you that even though you're on a mountaintop, you might not always be on the mountain. Therefore, you need to prepare for a time that might come when you start to descend off the mountain and get into the valley. But it should also come as an encouragement to anybody that is experiencing their Mukono season. The Mukono season passes. Yes, it passes. Weeping might endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. So, brother and sister, be encouraged. There is a time for everything under the sun. I would like us to read together Ecclesiastes chapter 3 from verse 1 to 8. 1, 2, 3, go. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to tear down and a time to build. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones and a time to gather them. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to start and a time to give up. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to tear and a time to mend. A time to be silent and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. What we have just read there, really in summary, is my sermon. So in summary, you can go home. There is a time for everything under the sun. The trouble comes when you do not understand the time that you're living in. When it is time to kill and you're busy loving. When it's time to speak, yet you must be silent. When it is a time to embrace, but you're refraining from embracing. There is a time for everything under the sun. 1 Chronicles chapter 12, verse 32. 1 Chronicles chapter 12 retells of men who came to join David. You know, King David, when he was on a run from Saul, he was running from his life, and men from different tribes of Israel came and joined him. I would especially like to focus on the men that came from Issachar. The Bible says that from Issachar came men who understood the times and knew what Israel should do. My question to you as a believer, do you understand the time that you're living in? As a 25-year-old, as a 30-year-old, as a 40-year-old, as a 60-year-old, do you understand the point in time where you're living? Do you understand what is expected of you to do? Because there are people who are 25, they are 18, and they are doing things of 40-year-olds. Yes? You are single and unmarried. And you are, engaging in things of bafombo. You're doing things at the wrong time. You are 18 years old and you must be in school and you're saying, no, now me, I want to work. That is not the time to work. You're doing things at the wrong time. There is a time for everything. So where are you at? Do you understand the season that you're living in? Are you taking the appropriate actions for where you are at? Genesis chapter 8 verse 22 says that as long as earth endures, seed time and harvest and cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will never cease. Seasons are a kingdom principle. Seasons are a principle of God. That is why we have day and we have night. I hope you know that at night you're supposed to be sleeping. Yes? Seems obvious, but it doesn't always happen like that. In the night, people are awake. And then during day, they're at work, but they are asleep. Because they were doing things at the wrong time. There are people who it is time to harvest, or it is time to plant, and you're eating the seed. It is your time to plant, but you are hanging around those who are in their harvest season. And because of that, you are eating your seed. There are people who are living in their harvest season. Yes, they've lived longer than you. They've worked longer than you. They've put in the work. They've done the work. And they have a harvest. But you, with your little seed, you hang around them. You're hanging around the wrong people. And because of that, you're doing the wrong thing at the wrong time. There is a time for everything under the sun. And sometimes maybe I think it is because, we call ourselves children of God. And we know that our God is all powerful and he's a wonder working God. And he will perform miracles on our behalf so that we can prosper out of season. And yes, granted, our God sometimes can. Sometimes God produces those pockets, those kairos moments where he parts Red Seas, where he gives us manna in the desert, where he feeds 5,000 using 5 and 2. Those moments are there. But that is not how he intended for us to live. We are supposed to learn the chronos timing of God. Yes? And apply discipline during those times so that we can prosper at the right time. There are two areas that I would like us to discuss in detail this morning. The first area is that of work. If you went to Sunday school, I know now we call it children's church, but when I was growing up, we called it Sunday school. But I never went because my father only prayed on Christmas. So I did not go to Sunday school. But if you went to Sunday school, you know that in Sunday school, they taught that God created the world in how many days? How many? 6. Yes, God created the world in 6 days. And what happened on day 7? God rested. And this thing is something that we as Christians, we have learned. We have crammed. We have gotten to the point where we know that rest is godly. That because our God rested, therefore we must also rest. But some of us are not copying God. Because you see, God rested after working. Yeah? He rested after work. God worked for 6 days. And the amount of work he put in was extraordinary. He rested after only 6 days, but it was an extraordinary amount of work. He created everything that you see. Everything that you have not even set your eyes upon, God created it in those 6 days. And after he had created, after he had worked, then he rested. Woe on some of us who are busy copying the portion of God that rested, but are not copying the work. Work comes after resting, not before. Do you remember that 9-day vacation that I was telling you about? Now, the first 3 days of that vacation, they were great. It was so nice to wake up in the morning and breakfast is ready. Where there was a spread of like 10 types of cheeses. Where you ate, today you eat this egg, this tomorrow is sunny side, now it is running. Then the breakfast spread was great. And after you came back for breakfast, you went to the room and the bed had been laid. There were like fairy godmothers hiding in the cupboards that came out and, fixed things. There were many meals. You people, the first 3 days were great. But on day 4, I started developing a hypothesis. And by day 9, I had concluded and confirmed my hypothesis. Do you want to hear my hypothesis? My hypothesis was that man was not created for rest. Rest was created for man. But man was not created for rest. We were created for work. We were created for work. Work is a vocation. Work is a blessing. Work is a calling. Work gives you purpose. It gives your life meaning. We are created for work. We are not created for rest. Rest is beautiful. That is why it is nice to savor it after you have worked. So what season of life are you in? Are you in a time of resting? Or are you busy resting at the time when you're supposed to be working? There is another aspect of work that I would like to discuss. especially with the younger generation. I don't find it a lot in the older guys, but the younger ones. There is this thing that is called work-life balance. I don't like that thing. Yeah? I don't even know what the genesis of it is. But the truth is, in my opinion, I believe that work-life balance is for people who are pursuing mediocrity. If you are pursuing work-life balance, you might disagree with me, but in my opinion, you are pursuing a life of mediocrity. Because tell me who you know that is at the top of their craft, a master in their field, and they pursue work-life balance. Tell me, who are they? They are not. They are not there. And you know the thing that the enemy lies to us? We forget that life operates in seasons. Yes? So, I said that work-life balance is a lie because that imbalance is not for the rest of your life. If you have been a young mother, I know that you can testify. There are times when, you feel like a mad woman. Your hair is falling out. The things are dripping. You are out of balance. You don't get enough food. You don't get enough sleep. Mommy, people are pulling you left, right, and center. You feel like you are going to run mad. But the truth is that time is short-lived. I have lived through that time. And I can stand here and testify that time is short-lived. Right now, my daughters are 13 and 12. When they wake up in the morning, they lay their beds, they do their chores, they actually wake themselves up. I don't have to wake them up. And by the time I leave my bedroom, they are dressed and ready to go wherever we are going. And they have my coffee in hand. They wake me up with a cup of coffee. Now, another person might lie to you that, motherhood is hard. No, it is difficult for a season. So for that season, your life will be out of balance. Yes, embrace those seasons. There are going to be seasons that are for deep work. They are for setting up foundations. They are for building. They are for planting. They are for setting up things. Those times are going to be out of balance. And that is the way it is supposed to be. There is no one that is digging a foundation that is, doing a little bit and then they balance and then they rest. No. I remember when we were building, when we were setting up this location, you people, the men that built this church, the pastors that built this church, their lives were out of balance. They were here in the morning. If they left at midnight. Some days they would camp here and sleep here. And one of those days, I could not take it any longer. So I made a phone call to our mentor, someone that I know my husband is accountable to. And my intention was to report him because he wasn't coming home. I did not have a husband anymore. And I remember when I made that phone call, our mentor rebuked me and said, no, please, relax. Let the man work. This is a time for building. This is a time for setting up foundations. This is a time for planting, for plowing. The time of planting and plowing is a difficult one. If you have been in the village, you know. Because you wait for the rains to come, like now. And then you dig as it's raining on you. But that time is short-lived. Now I have my husband back home with me. And some days I'm thinking, but why doesn't he go? Tell him, but sweetie, you don't have some work at church. Please go. Because now I am tired. Because the other period is over. Now he's back home. The seasons of plowing are important. They are going to be out of balance. These great people that you admire in your fields, they say that in earlier times of their careers, the Jeff Bezos of the world, when they were building Amazon, those guys would work 100-hour weeks. And here you are complaining about 40 hours. Oh, I need rest. You people. We cannot expect dominion. We cannot desire greatness, but are not willing to do what greatness takes to achieve. If you want to be great, you need to put in the work. There is a season when you will be expected to work extraordinarily too much. And you must embrace that season. The athletes that you admire, do you know they said that the Cristiano Ronaldos, the Serena Williams, they train for a minimum of 6 hours per day. And some of you cannot even go on a walk for 30 minutes. But these guys are on the court, dribbling balls, kicking balls for a minimum of 6 hours per day. Come rain, come sunshine. But now they are in retirement. They are enjoying the fruits of their retirement. And the fruit they are enjoying is what you desire. But you are not willing to do the work that it takes. Work-life balance is for people who are pursuing mediocrity. If you want to be a mediocre, pursue that. You need to embrace the time when you are going to work extraordinarily too much. The Bible says that do not be deceived. A man reaps not only what he sows, but where he sows. If you are going to reap in rest, we are going to see your fruit. Yes? The Bible says, a little sleep, a little slumber. People, if you are a parent here, ensure that your child memorizes that scripture. And you must also live by it. It says, a little sleep, a little slumber, and poverty will overtake you like a bandit. You know what a bandit is? Like a robber, an armed robber. You do not see where they come from. They just come and take over your life. A little sleep, a little slumber, and poverty will overtake you as a bandit. We must decide that we will not be those kinds of Christians. We will be people who are willing to put in the work at the right time, in the right season. The second thing that I would like us to talk about. First, we have talked about work. Secondly, I want us to talk about the seasons of wealth creation. I hope you know that wealth creation happens in seasons. And unfortunately for us, it happens during brackets of ages. Between 0 to 25, we expect that you're in school. You're studying, you're getting your high school diploma, you're getting your degree, you're getting your master's, you're picking those little certificates. If you are above 25 and you are still in those foundational education, it means that there is a season that you abused. There is a season that you did not understand and discern, and therefore are doing the wrong thing at the right time. That when other people are supposed to be in the marketplace, because by 25, we expect that you are in the marketplace. You have work. You might not have a job yet, but you have work. The ages between 0 to 25, you are in school. 25 to 30. At this point, you are working to save. At this point, you are working. You are not only doing the work that you want to do. This is actually not the time to do the things you want to do. The people that tell you, oh, pursue your passions, do the things that bring you pleasure, they are giving you, it's not kasasi, katwa. They are giving you katwa. 25 to 30, it is to work. It is time for you to be a jack of all trades. It is not for you to wait for the right opportunity. I see young people, you have not worked, you have no money, you have no experience, and you're thinking, they are saying, no, this is not the right opportunity for me. I'm waiting for the right opportunity. No, this is the time to grab every opportunity and turn it into the right opportunity for you. This is not the time to be picky. This is the time to do whatever work the marketplace puts in your lap. Yes? This is not the time for you to get a loan and buy a Mazda CX-5. The people that tell you these lies, they don't like you. This is not the time for you to rent a 3-bedroom house in Tinder. It is not. This is not the time for you to take trips to Dubai. This is not time for you to hold the latest. If I see a 25-year-old and you have the latest iPhone, my heart cries for you. I bleed for you. I'm thinking, Kale, look at this one. No wisdom. And not only do you lack wisdom, but you lack wise people in your life. Because if you had some wise people around you, they would tell you, sweetheart, darling, this is not the time for that. This is the time to work to save. This is the time to get a second-hand phone, to get a hand-me-down from your brother or your sister, to get a hand-me-down phone from your auntie, from your father or your mother when they buy a new phone. This is time for you to live in a crappy neighborhood. This is time for you to live in a single-roomed house. This is it. Because if you don't do it now, you will be 45, living in a crappy neighborhood, in a single-roomed house, holding a second-hand phone, and still taking a taxi. So, choose. Do you want to do it now, or do you want to do it later? And I know that the argument most people have is that, Pastor Angel, now, I make too little to save. It is not about the amount. At this point, we are about establishing habits. Even if you make 10,000 shillings per day, get that 2K and put it aside. Don't think that you who can't save 2K, when you finally make 20 million, you will save even 500,000. It will not happen. 25 to 30 is a time to work hard, to do everything the marketplace puts in your lap. Work to save. It is not about the amount. It is about establishing the habit. The next stage is 30 to 40. The 30 to 40-year-olds, they've started to make it. If you're 30, if you're between 30 and 40 here, I know you can testify. You know that over Christmas, you had a good time. You not only gave yourself a good time, you gave your family a good time, you gave your extended family a good time. Because at this point, you start to create a niche. You carve out a niche. You become a specialty in your field. You are maybe a managing director. You're maybe a manager. You have carved out a business and it is doing well because you have learnt your lessons either through acquiring knowledge or experience of you tried things and they failed and now you have finally figured out something that works, or you have used the cheat code that I always use, mentorship. So between 30 and 40, you have started to make a little bit of money. Unfortunately, this is where a lot of us become adamant. We think that, I have finally cracked the code. Mukama nazi zake naku. God has remembered me. We use that thing a lot. You don't recognize that it is because you are within that age bracket. You are between 30 and 40. You have started to make a little bit of money, but you think and start to behave like the rich fool. The Bible talks about the rich fool who, when he had a year of bountiful harvest, he built bigger barns and he stored up produce for himself. And he said to himself, I will never have to work a day ever again. Not knowing that change was on his door. It was knocking. That very day, his life was going to be taken away from him. I want to remind you that when that adamance tries to come and enter your heart, remember this sermon. Remember this sermon. This is the time that most people they get luxury cars. I will not mention the luxury cars that some of you 30 to 40-year-olds drive. This is the time that they start to build their forever homes. That 8-bedroomed house that you're constructing somewhere on some highway. You usually do it between this time, 30 to 40. My husband and I have talked to older people. And when you sit them down, they say, Pastor, we made money. There was a time when we made money. I want to let you know that for most of them, when they said they made money, it is between that time, which is exactly where most of us are, between 30 and 40. You have a bountiful harvest. It is not time for you to spend it on liabilities because things change. Yes? Things change. Seasons change. Your business has done extraordinarily well this year. It might not be the same next year. That deal that you are not expecting, the fact that you are not expecting it and it lands in your lap and you make that money and you choose to spend it demonstrates that you lack wisdom. You are not expecting the money. And then it comes. That is seed. At our home, in our marriage, we have an accountability master. I will not tell you who it is between the two of us, but I think you can guess. There is no income that will ever enter the household of the Kimulis that is not accounted for. There is no opportunity out of which we will make a few coins that we will not keep account of. We have account of every income that has entered the household, even that which we were not expecting. This is the way to live between your 30s and 40s. Because your income has increased, but this is a time to super invest. It's to know where every single coin is. It's to know that I made 50 million here. Where is it? It is not time for us to buy luxury cars. So, are you an accountability master of the income that the Lord is giving you between this age? A lot of you, the truth is that you are making money. We know you. Me, I know you. I'm your pastor. When I sit with you and we talk, I'm thinking, but you people, where does your money go? Sente muzidia. Sente mukolati? Muzidia. We have just left Christmas and I know you have an internal witness that you have been eating the money. If you have, this is the time to stop. Because like that rich fool, change is coming. You know, COVID showed us that things can change. That company, that business that you are so proud of that is thriving, things can change. This year, 2025, when the year started, my landlady, and one of my former employees, each of them set up the same business that I was doing within walking distance from me. And then they started to set up plans and plots to fail me. But as a wise woman, even if this business closes, I can give account of every cent it has given me in the past. So you cannot be so concerned about future income when you are not keeping account of the income that you have now. Yes? Be in the season. Steward the season that you are in with responsibility. Keep account. Keep account and give account of every income that enters your household. Because if you have clothing on your back, a roof over your head, food in your tummy, you can send your children to school, you have a small car that can take you from place to place. Everything above that is seed. Everything more than that is money to be invested. So how are you stewarding this season between the 30s to 40s? Now let's move on to the 40 to 50. In my opinion, this is the sweet spot. Yes. This is the sweet spot because at 25 to 30, you are developing habits. 30 to 40, you start to work for money. 40 to 50, your money starts to work for you. This is the time where your money is supposed to work for you. So if you are between 40 and 50 and you are still working for money, you misused a season. You misused a season. This is the time for you to, instead of going as an individual, send money. Yes? Send your money to do things for you. This is the time to invest in money markets. Because some of us are so eager to invest in money markets, but you have 100,000 and you want to buy a government bond that is at 12%. How much profit are you going to make? But if you have shepherded and stewarded the seasons properly, when you are between 40 to 50, you can send your 100 million there. You can invest in the money markets. This is the time to send your money to work for you. This is the time for you to diversify your portfolio, your investment portfolio. This is the time for you to lend to government. Because government is always looking for money. This is the time for you to lend to others at a profit. Then we move on to the above 50-year-olds. Do we have any above 50? You're here and you're above 50? Wonderful, wonderful. We have a few hands. In my opinion, this is the time to start enjoyment. This is the time for what? For enjoyment. This is the time to go on that cruise. But only if you have shepherded and stewarded these seasons properly. You might be above 50, but you're going back to redo the work that you should have done when you were younger. This is a time to enjoy money. Some of us are so eager to live, and it's not bad to leave an inheritance, but these children that you're leaving your things for, they are going to eat your money. Yes? They are going to eat your money. The only true investment that you should leave for your children is education and a fear and love of the Lord. Everything else after that is nyongeza. So get some of that nyongeza and enjoy your life. Yes? Buy that suit, buy that dress, go out for dinners. Enjoy your money. This is also a good time to build your forever home. But by this time, you will actually realize that you do not need an 8-bedroom house. If you have a 2-bedroom house, you will be okay with it. This is a time for what? For enjoyment. So if you are here and you have been stewarding and shepherding the other seasons of your life appropriately, you have my blessing to go and enjoy. Are we together? Amen. So, in conclusion, we have seen that there is a time for everything under the sun. There is a time to plant, there is a time to harvest, there is a time to weed, there is a time to plow, there is a time to love, there is a time to embrace, there is a time to refrain from embracing, there is a time to speak and a time to be silent. Most especially when it comes to the two aspects that we have talked about, when it comes to work. We work and then we rest. We don't rest before working. Rest comes after working. And then when it comes to work, there are going to be seasons of planting, of learning, of building, of setting up foundations. Expect that those seasons will be out of balance. And it is okay. Embrace the season that you are in. Shepherd it with responsibility. The second thing is in regard to wealth creation. There are ages at which you're supposed to do certain things. Between 0 to 25, we're in the formative years of school. Between 25 to 30, we are working like donkeys. We are working to save. Between 30 and 40, we are saving to invest. Between 40 and 50, our money is working for us. And above 50, now we are starting to enjoy. God bless you.